Ladies and gentlemen, Mikhail, Markine, Niklas, Hemlin, welcome to the next NSL talk.
We're never going away. If we're going to sit here, airspeed 2030, we're going to be like, hey, everybody, we got a new lineup.
Oh, man. I don't know where to start. There are millions of things to talk about, but I know the last time we talked after the Nationals, right? When it was all over, it was a little sad
The ink
atmosphere.
wasn't even dry, and you forced us into an interview. So
I'm so sorry, but it's the best time to make an interview. I need drama.
That's
Drama.
yeah.
I didn't get any drama of the interview because he took it well collected, in fact. So how do you feel now, like a month later, and you know, well, you are going to the World Championship now?
Yeah, so it's, you know, the U.S. Nationals, a lot of drama. Congrats to Rhythm. You know, great performance by them. We had some really good skydives, but it was a sad ending, you know, for us. Matt did awesome. And then at the World Cup, we got a rematch. And we still had mistakes at the World Cup, but we were a lot more consistent than from Nationals. So the World Cup ended up really good for us. And then in the midst of Nationals and the World Cup, XPA was in a situation where they realized that Rhythm would have to do both. And they asked us if we wanted to possibly do 8-way. And because they wanted to be 100% focused on winning the gold in 8-way. And they felt it was at a disadvantage for someone to focus on two disciplines. So that being their stance, they asked us, and we thought about it, spoke to Scott Arizona about it. And there were some negotiations between, you know, the Hills and the Nuncios. And then we all struck an agreement, and here we are. Yeah.
Yep. Well, the Matt came into play. You know, it wasn't only you and Mikhail. You know, Matt came later. There were actually only 2 slots. You know, Janet and Andrew. Sorry, Steve and Andrew. So more happened.
Yeah, I mean, as far I cannot speak for me. I told them that I told XPA, there's all of us and none of us at the time, you know, because I wasn't going to pick my team apart. Because as you all know, we have a forward team to focus on to rebuild. And I'm not going to take half of my team to do 8-way, and then so I'm going to take my whole team or none of my team. And that was what was on the table. And then XP then asked Chris Kuhlman to RTG, one of our new team members on the 4-way, asked him to take an alternate slot, and he very much so bowed out because he wants the best chance for his 8-way team to win, you know. And he realized that Mikhail flying in his slot is going to be a better chance for that 8-way team, you know.
And Matt is not weakening the 8-way team, as we all know. He's one of the most successful 8-way competitors in the world. So justification for such a move is there no matter what anyway, you know,
yeah.
Wherever the reasoning is coming from. But now we are at the next topic already, which is R2G. Naturally, because we had, gosh, I mean, R2G members are, well, they have not been the farm team officially for airspeed yet. They haven't been the farm team for anybody. So how did this all happen? I know you and I, Nick, we had this conversation, I think, at the World Cup, you know, who would be the candidates for airspeed's new forward team. And I remember that we talked about the R2G members. We talked about everybody except for Gina was not in the tryout. So why not? Well, actually, you know, all 3, your lovely spouse, Michelle, and Joey and Christopher, they were all in the tryout procedure, but not Gina.
Well,
yeah,
we can't really speak about, you know, why we put people on the list, take people off the list, or how we make our final decisions.
Okay, I take that back. Then
Yeah.
who was on the list, actually on the official candidate list? I mean, did you try out other people?
It was we had 4 people.
Okay.
With R2G and of course we had to very seriously consider staying with Matt.
Right.
So we had 4 great candidates for 2 slots. You know,
Yeah.
a very challenging place to be.
Yeah,
But
and now,
you know, a good problem to have at the same time.
Absolutely. I mean, the problem, you know, it's always a good problem that airspeeder has, because you were never short of high caliber candidates, as far as I know. You know that from your own history. So now we have all R2G members in the US delegation. No, that's not true. Not for 2020. We have only Gina and Mikhail for 2020, and then Christopher and Joey for whatever comes next.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like what we, I mean, now we ended up being that Mikhail and I doing AFWay. Matt is doing AFWay, and so we considered all these 4 people very fairly. We jumped with them all, and we considered everything we could. And in the end of the day, it's a lot of things played in. But for us, the AFWay team is just for 2020 for right now, you know. And so the priority for the 2020 season is the AFWay. And then on this, the second to that is rebuilding a 4-way team. And so both Michelle and Matt, who were on the tryouts for joining the Airspeed 4-way team, it's better if they stay 100% focused on the 8-way. And then Mikhail and I are also going to stay 100% focused on the 8-way, but then we're also going to dedicate quite a lot of time to rebuilding this 4-way team. And that's what it comes down to, you know. Mikhail and I walk a very fine line not to dilute the 4-way or the 8-way. And us being the senior members of Airspeed, we can do that. We have the focus, the experience, and the skill to do it. And we didn't want to necessarily intertwine the 2 in the future more than that. So keeping the 4-way and 8-way separate, except for the 2 of us, I think strategically played a role, and I think is very good for us. And because anyone joining the 4-way team, whether it was Matt, whether it was Michelle, Chris, or Joey, or anyone else, it's a transition. Geographically move it out here to, changing your lives. Some of these people have real jobs. They now have to find a way to make money in the Airspeed way in the community. Just moving here and then getting used to all the ins and outs of being an Airspeed member. So, and we wanted those 2 people to be 100% focused on that, more so than, do anything else. And that was just one of the aspects of our decision making, you know. We also, both Mikhail and I have been on the team for a long time, and we're also thinking about the future. Because someone is going to have to take over this team from the 2 of us when we're done, and who is that, you know. So it wasn't an easy decision, but we feel it was definitely the right decision we made. So.
But who knows? In 30 years, you may still be sitting here talking to you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still here. Hang in there. It's fun. Don't go anywhere.
Facelift, though.
Hey, careful now, right? Hey, an interesting part of that is with that 8-way decision, with Steve and Andrew now focusing only on 4-way, and you stepping in. I mean, on one hand, you are strengthening the 8-way team, but on the other hand, you're weakening the SB chances to compete with Rhythm, because Rhythm now will make 1,000 jumps next year, probably until next year. You have a completely new lineup, and so at this point in time, you're putting yourself a little bit back, and Rhythm far ahead, you know, as of training efforts and time together and blah blah blah. So
I think that's completely natural. I think it would be irresponsible for us to focus solely on 1 year at a time. You're right in that come Nationals 2020, we're at a significant disadvantage because of the new team that we have. However, the long-term potential of this lineup is unlimited in our eyes. There are many factors that go into decision making like this, but the biggest component of it all is, do we have the people to win? Okay. Whether it's 3 years from now, whether it's 5 years from now, do we have the right people? And with this lineup, the new lineup with Chris and Joey, we absolutely believe so. So
how long do you think?
The other thing too, it's like, so if you play out the scenarios, which we did, hey, we won Nationals, Rhythm took second, they're doing an 8-way team, we're doing a 4-way team. So who would go to the World Meet? And possibly at the time, if we won, we would have taken both Thiago and Matt to the World Meet, you know? And now you're working on a lineup that's not going to continue past Russia. So then you would have to start up with a new lineup anyways for 2021. So the way we see it is that we would have, we gained a year. We gained a year on a new 4-way, because now 2021, that 4-way team would have been new. Now that 4-way team is new in 2020. And we're planning on doing 500 to 600 jumps with that team, the 4-way team. Yeah, and
1,000 jumps with 8-way, and then another 500 in 4-way.
Yeah,
full play.
and that's what I'm saying. It's like
very little income next year.
But that's also what we're saying, that we didn't want those new guys to focus both 4-way and 8-way. That was part of the calculations. There was many other things we discussed. But in the context with this conversation, that's what we decided on. So as far as we see it, we gained a year, you know, and Mikhail and I still get to go to a World Meet, you know, and focus on 8-way. Incredibly fun with that team, you know, between BK, Matt, and Kirk, some tremendous 8-way knowledge. And then with John, Michelle, and everyone else on that team, Gina, it's a lot of talent, you know.
Yeah, and Michelle.
And so you know, it's when you join a team like that, you just have to show up and train and do the best you can every day. You're not really building a team from scratch, because everyone is so talented and so driven and so good. It's very little maintenance, you know. And then we can spend all that extra energy that we have over fumes in the tank to rebuild our 4-way team. So however you see it, we're in a win-win situation here, the way we see it.
Yeah, and then there are a lot of first times for a lot of people there. You know, you haven't won an 8-way world championship yet. Now, Mikhail, not in any way, and others. So the only people who have won a world championship before are BK and you know, BK, Matt, and Kirk, right? So everybody else is new to competing on that top level in 8-way.
And this is something that really excites us, because even though we haven't had a shot at the 8-way title or focused on it, to be frank, we are taking that airspeed jet fuel and injecting into the team. And of course, there's plenty of jet fuel on the team already, but the passion and the energy and our own insights into how we want to fly onto that 8-way team. So we're very excited about it.
Yeah, and you need that. You got work to do there. There's Russia, there is France, you know, with top lineups, top performances. So well, good luck with that. Let's quickly, before I let you go, let's talk about slots. That's an interesting situation now with, you know, with your new airspeed lineup. I don't know, you have jumped. I'm sure. I mean, you have jumped together, right? Have you the whole lineup?
Mm-hmm.
For training or in the trial?
No, our first training day is Monday, December 2nd. We just come on Monday, so we're going to jump for 3 days, and then we're going to do tunnel for 4 days. So our first training week is coming up already. And slots, you talk about slots. We're going to put Mikhail on camera, and then we considered 2 different things. Joey and Chris are in the front piece on R2G. So why don't we move me into the center slot, and then Mikhail and I be the back piece, then be the front piece. Now, if we want to do a nationals in this year, that's what we would do. but splitting the experience up into all the experience and all the in the back piece, we think would be, as of right now, a disadvantage. Short term, it would probably make us better, but long term, I don't think it would be as good because you have all the experience and in the back piece. So we decided.
And you and Mikhail, you would fight all the time anyway. You know, you hate each other, and so you would together in the rear piece are a disaster.
We would be so busy fighting in free fall. We wouldn't score any points.
All right, so smart move.
And then the other one is move Chris Coolman into the inside center slot, keep Joey in point, me outside center, him tail. And that's kind of what Craig and Mark did with Andy and Eliana, right, in 2006 and 7 when they started a new airspeed team. They kind of trapped the new guys in between the two experienced. So we jumped that, and we feel like that right now is the best choice, you know, to keep me as an outside center with all the experience I have. And we then going to trap Chris between Mikhail and I. And then we're going to have Joey a point, which Joey has a lot of experience as point. But that's what we feel is best. And Chris has proven himself in ways, picking up the 8-way slot so quickly on the XP8. And also when we flew with him in the tunnel, very intuitively picking up small nuances of the slot by just some feedback on the fly. So we feel like, you know, he's very talented and he absorbs anything new, and he's already in that mindset coming off of 8-way. That him picking up a new slot. Remember, I picked up the new slot with airspeed in 2010 and 11 and 12, right? So I know all about picking up the slot and then winning. So we feel like that's the best decision.
Yeah, but what I'm wondering, and the question is evident, you know, the question will come up naturally, and you've been asked probably hundreds of times already. You had an inside center in, you know, one of your candidates. Mikhail is an inside center. Mm-hmm. And so she has that, so you could have kept your outside center slot with Joey as a student point, and Mikhail would have been, I mean, wasn't that kind of the closest or the most logical choice?
Yeah, it was for sure a very vivid option. Like I said, all 4 candidates, we effectively had 4 perfect candidates. Interviews, flying, it's like, okay, so we have 4 people. How do we make this decision? So, yeah. Yeah.
Well, here's another thing. You just mentioned a few examples, Niklas. You know what when you changed the lineup, the slots before 2012 and 2011. You had another most recent example when you put Thiago from tail to inside center, mm-hmm. to bring the experience into it. Wouldn't that be an option also? Bring Mikhail into the center for the experience, and you and Mikhail in the center, and then Christopher tail instead of inside center?
Yeah, that would be an option for sure. And I think you and I talked over the phone the other day, and you brought it to my attention. I hadn't really thought about it, but you know, there's something that we can try out for sure. You know,
it worked well with Thiago. You know,
yeah.
To my
yeah. But I mean, Thiago also is, Mikhail used to be tail on rhythm, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, Mikhail used to be tail on rhythm, and then we put him in the point slot. Very similar to what happened to Thiago, right? Thiago joined airspin and became point, mm-hmm. and he was tail on rhythm, and then he got his tail slot back. So in the end of the day, you know, that situation is different than this situation. So you have to weigh all the ins and outs. But, you know, we make decisions the best we know how and what we think is right for us. And we are using all the previous experiences to help us make those decisions. And it goes from picking new team members to picking slots to whatever, right? And so, yeah, I mean, right now we have what we think is the best assigned slots, but, you know, we definitely going to try other things when we're training. So stay tuned.
So nothing is in stone anyway, except it looks like we have the pieces. Basically, the pieces are set. The slots maybe, you know, not 100%. Well, it looks like Joey and you, that seems to be in stone too, right?
I've flown with Joey, I've flown with Chris in the front piece, and they both feel great. I flew with Matt in the front piece. She's great. I flew with Michelle. She was inside center and tail. She's done a lot of flying with us before. She felt great. So like Mikhail said, there's a lot of good skydivers there, And ultimately, what made the decision is what you all see is we just made it. And we feel like we made the right decision. But hey, who knows? You never know what's going to happen, right? So
decision after at the end of the upcoming camp, or is that kind of about the time where you may feel like, okay, that's probably what we're going to do? Or is it still an open?
No, I feel like, right now, and I'm just brainstorming here based on your question, that from my end, it hasn't really been thought through. So don't hold me accountable to any of this. We're gonna try Chris on the tail and see how Mikhail does an inside center slot.
Oh shit!
I would send the videos.
We're gonna see that anyways, right? We're gonna see that anyways. We're gonna see Chris in the tail and Mikhail in the inside center slot. So we'll see.
So what are the competition plans? When and where are we going to see the new S-Speed lineup in action first? Probably at Paraclete?
Spain, actually. We're going to the Wind Games.
Wind Games, and then Paraclete, and then Shamrock. You cannot miss the Shamrock again, I guess.
We're going to everything but the Shamrock, actually.
Really? Why is that? Everybody is here this year or next year.
I know. We're training with the 8-way team. So,
in Rayford?
I don't know. I can't remember it.
Well, that will change because the Paraclete 8-way team has to come because France and Russia will be here.
Yeah.
So if you want to have a serious competition with your 8-way opponents, there is no way out of it.
Yeah, well, this is new information for me. I've been so busy rebuilding a team. Whatever happens out there in the world that's on the world. I'm running trying to do my 8-way, 4-way stuff. But we wanted to come to the Shamrock, but based on 8-way training and 4-way training and organizing and coaching, we couldn't make everyone happy, and we had to cut something. So right now, we're not doing the Shamrock because of the 8-way schedule. That's it. But we're making all the other competitions. So it is what it is for right now. But if we hear that 8-way, both the Russians and the French are going, maybe we'll go. But
they have already been listed.
Now, this is brand new information to me.
If you went a little bit more frequently to the NSL website, you would know all that. So if I were you and you never know what's going on, I would just take 5 minutes every day.
I think this interview is over. You know what?
I forgive you. No, seriously, they have been listed there on the Shamrock page already for a while, so it's public knowledge, that they will come.
Hey, dude, if you want a look into our lives, we've been strapped to the front of a truck, driven through a cornfield. And
I stay where I am. Thank you. I applied for your video slot though, but when David said that he stays for another year, that didn't work either. So I stay where I am. I do what I do. Thank you.
No, we love David too much.
All right, guys. I let you go now. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone. Thank you.